I had a hard time coming up with a title for this week's lesson because there's so many angles for how I could describe this. It's kind of a minor bluegrass thing, and then I thought, well, no, maybe it's more of like a gypsy jazz kind of vibe. But then I thought, I'm going to stick to the lesson material and what the value is. And the real value is hearing these minor scales and knowing how to use them and when to use them. And so that's what we're going to be taking a look at in this lesson, is these 3 minor scales. And the truth is, it's really just the minor pentatonic scale, but we're going to add a little bit to that. We're going to add a note here and there to give it the flavor of some of these other scales. It sounds more complicated than it is. It's actually pretty straightforward. So I've got the lesson split into 2 parts. In this video, we're going to go through the first half, all of the minor material. If you'd like to learn the second half, as well as download the tablature and access the on-screen tab viewer and also the MP3 jam tracks, you can get all of those things by going to activemelody.com, go to the weekly lessons page, and do a search for EP463. All right, so the first part of this video is the theory part. This is just our background information. We're going to be talking about the blues scale, the natural minor scale, and Dorian scale. If you already know what those are, you can skip ahead to the time on the screen and get right into the specific notes for the lesson. But I want to start off with this background information. I think this will be valuable. But before we get to that, let me just go through the chords that are used in the song. The song is in A minor, so it's a minor key song. And we have 4 chords. There's the A minor, then it goes to a C, then it goes to a D, then it goes to an E7, which is your 5 chord. And then back to the 1, or the minor 1. And that's the chords we're going to be looking at, those 4 chords. A minor, C, D, and E7. Okay, so in the intro, I alluded to the fact that most of what we're playing is minor pentatonic scale. I would say 99% of it. But we're going to add a note here and there to that minor pentatonic scale to give some of the color and the feel of the Dorian mode, natural minor scale, and the blues scale. So let's start off with the A minor pentatonic scale. Now this would be like your minor pentatonic scale pattern 1, right? But we're just going to take a look at these notes. That is the minor pentatonic scale. It doesn't matter if you which pattern you're playing or whatever. It's those same 5 notes. And then there's the octave, the A that played an octave higher. Right? So that's our starting point. Now we're going to add 2 notes to that to turn that minor pentatonic scale into the natural minor scale. We're going to add this note, 4th fret 3rd string. We're coming back into the pentatonic. And then we're going to add this note, which is the 6th fret 2nd string. So all together then, that is your natural minor scale. Sometimes people just call that the minor scale. It's the same as your minor pentatonic scale, but it's got those 2 extra notes. And why the extra notes? It just gives you a little more color, a little more flavor. But here's the thing, and this is the reason why a lot of people choose the minor pentatonic scale over the natural minor scale, is those 2 extra notes can be problematic. They can clash with certain chords. There's sometimes that they work and sometimes that they don't. The minor pentatonic scale, on the other hand, those notes are going to work over any chord. As long as you're in the right key, you don't really have to worry about it. That's why the pentatonics are so popular. So you got those 2 extra notes that make that the natural minor scale. Now the natural minor scale, this is a little side note, I don't want to confuse anybody, but that A natural minor scale is the same as the C major scale, for those of you that know your modes and all of that. I don't want to get too in the weeds on that. You're just going to have to trust me, the same notes, because A minor is the relative minor of C, and C is a relative major of A minor, so they share the same notes. Anyway, we now know our minor pentatonic scale, and we now know our natural minor scale. Okay, we're going to change one of the notes in that natural minor scale to make it Dorian mode. All you have to do to get into Dorian mode is take this note and raise it, so sharp that note. So you have, that's Dorian mode. You just take that 6th step or 6th interval, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from your minor scale, and you sharp it. So you have, that is Dorian mode. Now there's different ways we can visualize Dorian mode, and that's one way to do it. is to take your natural minor scale, for those of you that are comfortable with that scale, and you just sharp that 6th step. You've got Dorian mode. For me, I find it better, or find it easier. This is just a preference thing, but I find it easier to take your minor pentatonic scale, right, and then add the notes to that to make it Dorian. So that would look like this. And then on the 3rd and 4th string. And so you have this little pattern that you can see on strings 3 and 4, they match each other, and then 1 and 2 match each other. So, and that would be one position, obviously, of your Dorian mode. But anyway, I just wanted to show that there's different ways we can picture this. But I wanted to start with that natural minor scale and show that Dorian mode is really the same thing. There's just one note different. But that one note, instead of playing this note, playing this note, it makes a big difference when you're soloing. So, natural minor scale. We've got Dorian mode. The last of these scales that I'm going to touch on is the blues scale. It's the same as your minor pentatonic scale, but we add this note to it. We just add one note to this. So if we're playing in A and we're playing in this position, that would be the 8th fret 3rd string. And that's called the blue note. And so that converts our minor pentatonic scale into the blues scale. There it is again. If we walk on down the scale, it would be down here. So you can, but really it's just the one note that we're adding to our minor pentatonic scale. So let me just do a quick recap over everything we've been through. Remember that minor pentatonic scale is the spine that runs through everything we're talking about. So those 5 notes are the same no matter which of these scales we're playing. But if we're starting with that minor pentatonic, that's what it looks like. Then there's the octave, our natural minor, and then our Dorian mode. The last one would be our blues scale. Right? All right, now we have that background information. Let's get into the song and we'll break that down. Let's listen to the first part of the song since it's been a while since we've heard it. We'll get that in our ear and then we'll start talking about it. All right, so it starts off with a Mark Knopfler style lick. I probably stole that from Mark at some point. And that's, we can think minor pentatonic scale, pattern 1. So barring the first 2 strings here on the 5th fret, and then down to the 8th fret 2nd string. And then we go into that Dorian vibe. Listen. This note is the only thing that makes it sound Dorian. Everything else is minor pentatonic scale. But I wanted to just work that in. And this note works really well over the D chord because that's the 3rd interval of the chord. But I don't think that way when I'm improvising. I don't think most people do. You just kind of go to these sounds. And so the most important thing for you right now is just to be able to hear the sound. Hear that sort of major sound that's worked into that minor scale. It sort of colors it and pulls it in a different direction. Okay, so we have 1 and 2. And then watch this. Walking right down your minor pentatonic scale. You could also think of that note as being from your major pentatonic scale. Just depends on how you want to look at it. Anyway, we're going to go between the 7th fret and the 5th fret on the 2nd string, and then 3rd string, all the way down to the 4th string. All right, let's listen to the next part. All right, so now we're going into that blues scale. Remember, it's your minor pentatonic scale with that extra note, that blue note, which would be your 8th fret 3rd string. And we started with to walk it straight up. So it's 5th fret 3rd string, 7th fret, 8th fret, and then we go up to the 5th fret 2nd string. And then I go down the scale like that. And again, it's just think minor pentatonic scale, 8, 5 on the 2nd string, and then that blue note. So it's 8, 5 on the 2nd string, then we go down to the 8th fret 3rd string. So it's 8, 7, 5, 7th fret 4th string. Back to the 5th fret 3rd string, and then down to the 7th fret 4th string. So we have. And now from here, just minor pentatonic scale. I'm just walking down into a different pattern. So it's 7-5 on the 4th string, quick slide down to the 5th fret on the 5th string, 3rd fret, and then the 5th fret 6th string. So okay, so now the song's going to repeat. We go back to the minor 1, or A minor, and I went into this. And I don't remember where I got this, but this is kind of a dissonance thing. Probably Dave Rawlings, since I said dissonance, is probably where I got that. But that's a 4th fret 2nd string. You're bending. You're doing a half bend, though. You got to use a lot of control here. You can do this obviously on an acoustic guitar, but just you're going to have to kind of work to get that bend. And what you're doing is you're bending up to this E note. You're trying to match that note. Now, what is this note? That is your blue note, right? So this would still be kind of like that blues scale. I think of it that way. So you're going to bend it up twice, and then a bend and release down to the 1st fret 2nd string, and then you come back and do the bend again. So it goes like this. And then I come down to the 3rd fret 2nd string. That's 3rd, and then open 1. Now these would be 2 notes from your minor pentatonic scale, which would be actually 2 notes from all of these scales. So it's 1st fret, and then down to the 2nd fret 3rd string. And then watch this. So I'm going to slide up, and you can hear that blue note, right? That as a passing note, but it's all played on the 2nd string here. It's 1, 3, 4, and then you slide it up to the 5th fret. Okay, so from that dissonance part, it's. Okay, and now this is where the song goes to the 5 chord, which is your E chord. And while I was up here, I went, because I could hear that E, right? So I was up here, and this is the way my brain thinks. So I'm always thinking of, remember these words, nearest neighbor. What is my nearest neighbor? If I want to touch on a chord tone and try and play the chord changes a little bit, while I'm up here, I'm thinking, okay, there's an E chord that's being played. Where's my nearest E chord? Oh yeah, there's an E chord right here, like using the D shape. That all happens super fast in just a second, but anyway, that's why I played that note. So it's, and then went 1, 2, 3, and then down 5, 3, 1, and then 2nd fret 3rd string. And then from here we have this really cool blues run. So it's 2nd fret 3rd string, and we're going to play open. So that's 2, 1 on the 4th string, open 4, 3rd fret 5th string with a little bend, and then down to your open A. So from here we have, and then I think I strummed the chord there. I think you'll see that in the tab. That little walk down, that's your blue note again. And you're just hitting it in a different spot, right? So, and you'll use that quite a bit on these lower notes. You can do it over an E, right? But it's very handy when you're playing like a little lead break or fill. Okay, so that's a lot of information crammed into this part 1 video. I'm actually going to wrap it up here. I'll play through this one last time so you have one final view. And then we'll see you in part 2 where we'll go over the B part of the song. I always write these songs in 2 parts. I have an A part and a B part. The B part we go into major chords. We do kind of some bluegrass runs and, it's a really good use of alternate picking or flat picking. At the very end of it, we go back into the minor thing again. So here's one last look, and then we'll see you in part 2. 1, 2, 3, 4.